Okay, go ahead and throw your name on here. It is currently first hour. This is 5.9 Factoring Quadratics Part 2. Today's lesson that we are doing combines together 5.6 and 5.8. So, if you've done 5.6 and 5.8, great. If you have not done 5.6 and 5.8, this is going to be a great opportunity for you to see more of what we did do in those, and then you can loop back around and get caught up on those if you still need to. We are factoring quadratic trinomials. So quadratic means degree of 2. Trinomials means 3 terms that have a leading coefficient greater than 1 today. So that means they're going to have a number in front of x squared. So if you look right here, ax squared plus bx plus c. So that's what's new about today is there's that number in front of x squared. So we've got an additional things we have to do for that. Okay, here are your steps. Step 1, we are going to multiply a and c together. So we're going to identify a, b, and c. We're going to multiply the a and c together. So down here on this first problem, I'm going to do like step by step on each problem. We are going to label these A, B, and C. So A is 5, B is -2, and C is -3. So I'm just labeling which one's which. So our first step, step 1, is to multiply A times C. So over here, I'm going to write A times C so I remember what I'm doing. And I'm going to find my A and my C. My A is 5, my C is -3. So 5 times -3. And then 5 times -3 is -15. So that is step 1 right there, is to find your AC. Find what A times C is. Okay, any questions about that? So it's just waking up. Okay, so then step 2 is to find 2 numbers that multiply to AC and add to B. So this step 2 is just like what we did in 5.6. It's just instead of finding 2 numbers that multiply to C and add to B, it's multiply to AC and add to B. We are also introducing this magic X. Some people like to use it, some people don't. But what it is it's just kind of a way to organize what we're trying to multiply to and what we're trying to add to. A lot of teachers use it, so we decided to introduce it at this point. So I'm going to move down back to my example. I'm going to set up that X for myself. So I am looking for 2 numbers that multiply to -15, and they need to add to B, which is -2. So multiply to AC, add to B. Okay, if you still want to list out your factor pairs, you are more than welcome to. If you need your table of when things are going to be positive or negative, it's right here for you. So we're multiplying to a negative and adding to a negative. So on this first one, we're going to pick 1 positive, 1 negative, and we're going to make the bigger number negative. What 2 numbers multiply to 15 and are 2 apart from each other? 3 and 5. So we're going to use 3 and 5. And then when we are figuring out which one needs to be negative, we need to make the bigger one negative. So it's going to be -5. So I'm picking 3 and -5 as my 2 numbers. So that is step 2. Okay. Any questions right now? move up just far enough for us to see step 3. Step 3 is new and weird, but it makes it so step 4 works perfectly. So we do steps 1 and 2 to be able to do step 3, and then step 4 is what we did in 5.8. So step 3 is to split up the middle term. So split up your b using these two numbers we just picked. So what we are doing is essentially uncombining like terms so that we can factor by grouping. So we intentionally pick these numbers that will intentionally make it so that we can factor by grouping. So now we're going to do that. We are going to keep our 5x squared the same. And then we are splitting our minus 2x up into two separate terms. So instead of minus 2x, we are going to have plus 3x minus 5x. And if I were to combine those, it would be back to minus 2x. That's why I'm allowed to do that. And then I have my minus 3 still. So we are intentionally uncombining like terms. Okay. Any questions right now? Okay. We are going to then do step 4. Step 4 is exactly what we did in 5.8, which is factoring by grouping. So now we've got 4 terms, and these 4 terms, because I split those middle terms in the right way, will be able to be factored by grouping. So out of my first 2 terms, I've got 5 and 3. I can't divide 5 and 3 by anything, but I can pull out just one x, so just an x to the first. Because this one only has x to the first for me to pull out on these ones. So 5x squared, take out one of those x's, leaves behind 5x to the first. And then 3x to the first, take out the x, leaves behind just the 3. Okay, out of negative 5x and negative 3, there's nothing I can divide both those by, but anytime my third term is negative, we remember from 5.8, we want to factor out a negative 1, or a negative number, so we're choosing negative 1. So negative 5x divided by negative 1 is positive 5x. Negative 3 divided by negative 1 is positive 3. So we did GCF out of the first 2 and GCF out of the last 2. And then what's left behind in the parentheses should always match. So that matches, which is good. 5x plus 3. And then my other 2 pieces are x minus 1. My 2 GCFs make up my other term. Okay, any questions right now? Okay, it's a lot. It's definitely the most steps of a process that we've done. But I promise if you use your notes and follow through the steps and you do it on your assignment, it'll start clicking more and more. We've got 2 more on the back we're going to do together. And then you guys will have time to work on your assignment. So go ahead and flip this over. We have 3x squared minus 10x plus 8. Once again, I'm going to label A, B, and C. And then I'm going to multiply together A and C. So A times C. And this one is 3 times 8, which is 24. From there, zoom in a little bit more. No, I'm not trying to show you the notes on the front. From there, our next step, so that's step 1, step 2, and we're going to use the magic X to do step 2, is to find two numbers that multiply together to 24 and add together to be negative 10. If I need to multiply together to be positive, but I want to add together to be negative, I am going to want to pick two numbers that are both negative. So I'm going to pick two numbers that would add to 10 and then make them both negative. So for this problem, I'm going to use 4 and 6. And I'm going to make them both negative. So 4, 6, both negative. Because negative 4 and negative 6 make 24. If you need help later with the factor pairs, like we did in 5.6 and I think we just did it in 5.6, we can still use factor pairs. So if you need to do that, list out all your factors of 24. Hey, any questions about steps 1 or 2? Okay, step 3 is intentionally splitting our middle term. So I've got 3x squared here. And I'm going to split my minus 10x. I am going to split it into, and I'm going to choose to switch it this time because I want you to see a little bit different of factoring. So if you already did it, if you're all the way through, you should get the same thing as us. If you're not, do what I do. Instead of doing minus 4x minus 6x, do minus 6x minus 4x. I want you guys to see it a little bit differently. And then we've got plus 8. So we can split those middle terms in either way, is what I want you to see on this one. Okay. Any questions about step 3? Okay. We can factor by grouping then. What can I divide 3 and 6 both by? 3, and I can also pull out an x. So I'm going to have 3x is my GCF out of my first two. 3x squared, we pull out the 3x, just leaves behind an x. Negative 6x, we pull out the 3x. Negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. And then x divided by x, the x is gone. We factor out the x. Okay, right here, out of negative 4x and positive 8, anytime my third term is negative, so 1, 2, 3 term is negative, I'm going to pull out a negative. And out of 4 and 8, I can divide both of those by 4. So negative 4 is going to be my GCF. Negative 4x divided by negative 4 is positive x. 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2. And then our last step, what's left behind matches. So x minus 2 matches. That's my common factor now. And my GCFs are 3x and negative 4. 3x minus 4. Okay. Any questions right now? Okay, we've got one more then that we're going to do together. As we're doing this last one, and as I'm going through each step, and I say what we're going to do, stop and think to yourself, could I do that And if I can't, either ask about it now or ask about it when we get to the assignment. Okay, am I good to move? All right, last one. We've got 2x squared plus 11x plus 5. I'm going to put down my A, B, and C. And I'm going to go ahead and multiply together. A times C. That's always my first step. So AC is 2 times 5. 2 times 5 is 10. Then I'm going to make my magic X. I am looking for two numbers that multiply to 10 and add together to be 11, because that's my B, that's my middle number. What are my sets of numbers that multiply together to be 10? 1 and 10, and 2 and 5. Which of those add together to be 11? 1 and 10. So I'm picking 1 and 10. If we use our little table about positives and negatives on this one, we'll get told that if it's all positive, you're going to just keep everything positive. Okay, and then I can go ahead and split this. So 2x squared stays the same. 11x splits up into 1x and 10x. And I still have my 5. Out of 2x squared and 1x, I can divide out an x. 2x squared, dividing out that x, is just going to be 2x. And then 1x, dividing out the x, just leaves behind the 1. Out of 10 and 5, we can divide both of those by 5. Divide out of 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2. And I still have my x. And then 5 divided by 5 is 1. Okay. My terms that match, my parentheses that match, are 2x plus 1. And then the other piece of my answer is this x and this 5. Okay. Any questions right now? I'm going to pause our